All right, we're here. This is great.
Made it. Unbelievable.
Donate
for the folks in the audience. We got Tracy here, Donna Lorient. Listen, for everybody, this is Donay Clement Petruska. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
And she is our honored guest. We put up a post about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, right? About how annoying the JFK Jr. impersonators and so on and all those accounts were. And you weighed in such, I mean, it literally, Gene and I were sitting there going, it like broke our hearts. And then we talked about it, and Gene reached out to you to be on the show. And yeah, that was a horrible thing.
Donay, I hate to even do this, but just so people could see, like, I mean, this is what's going on in the internet, stuff like this. And it's just like, I have no word for it, but like, we've been saying that all this stuff is very hurtful for people that have passed away. We got mad at people because they were talking about these scientists that somehow they're alive in the Cheyenne Mountains on some like white hat operation. Donay, tell us about how this affects you when people say these things about your dad.
Well, I have to be honest. You know, years ago, I heard many of the rumors that have now, filtered away. You know, there was a lot of stuff around Trump's first presidency in the Biden years, especially with the election and everything that happened with the election in 2020. And what disturbed me about it was later on was that it was such a distraction from things that were important, right? And I was quite taken, though, with many of the things I was hearing, many of it about JFK Jr., who I loved JFK Jr. growing up. I was a teenager in the 90s, and, he was JFK's son, and his dad was the president. So it was really cool to hear that stuff. And I was so interested and everything. But then I've really noticed how in the quest for truth, the conspiracies that I feel are necessary, we should be questioning, we should be looking. We can't trust the media anymore. But there's been this thing that's happened where people are getting pulled down into what I would call a rabbit hole, where it's a cesspool down there, and people are completely blinded from what's actually going, and it's having the opposite effect. And I woke up to that when I saw the rumors turn to, oh, your dad was JFK Jr. and he's married secretly to Princess Diana, who never died, and the two of them are secretly running the country. And I was like, no, this has gone too far. Like, this is not good. This is not truth seeking. This is people with ill intent taking advantage of that quest and drawing people away from the truth. And the way that they do it, you've seen it on the left, the way they do it is it'll be certain things are true.
Right.
Because you've said this, and this that's true, then people feel like, okay, I can trust, and I've done this. I can trust this person. They've told me these things that are true. But often in the omission of facts or information is where the deception is. By simply not bringing things up that would probably debunk a narrative that's being subtly fed. And so this is a pattern of behavior I began to recognize. And then when it came out about my dad, it was like, well, I know that's not true. And it's easy to prove it. We have footage of my dad in the 90s in our prophetic rewind, where we run old footage of dad, and you can go there and see him in the 90s and what he looked like. Is
Princess Diana in the audience? I'm sorry.
I just went. No, you don't have to apologize. It became so overwhelming because I'm a person who speaks to the public. I have a show. I have feedback. I have a very interactive situation. on a Sunday, for instance, we do a live show, and I've got Rumble and I've got X and YouTube and everything up at the same time in the chat. And we really do interact. And what we're doing is looking at things my dad prophesied, and then current events, and trying to identify things, you know, especially as things happen. Everything that's gone on about the Iran war, everything that's going on politically, we look at those things together. And so I'm getting the feedback, and I'm seeing across the board that although we have these platforms now that are giving us access not only to the truth or the potential to find it, but to one another so we can communicate, that's been a really good thing. Like what we're doing right now is good. But it's naive to think that those with ill intent, our enemies, our adversaries, would not use that against us. And this is what I am.
Oh, 1,000%. Now, just a quick question. Was your father able, before he went home to be with the Lord, was your father able to know that Trump became president?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. So it's like his work was finished.
Yes. He passed 2 weeks after the election, and he voted for Trump. And he had to do mail in and sign because he had a stroke, so he couldn't use his right side.
He mailed in the ballot?
And
maybe the postman threw his ballot in the river.
But that's, you never know.
Right, exactly. We know that's not true.
They had to do it that way because he couldn't go in to vote because of his condition. So
of course,
he signed it with his left hand, and he was right-handed. That's how important it was to him that he got his vote in, because he'd been seeing all the way from 2007 what Trump was going to do.
Hey, Dave, I want to tell you something. I'm not sure if I told you the story, but Donae gave me a gift of Kim Clement's mantle around his neck, and I had it. And so I've had it already for like a year, and I was watching old Kim Clement videos when he went to Washington, D.C., because he felt like he needed to pray for Trump when he went down the escalator. And I'm watching this, Dave, and it was the same exact, his mantle that he wore is what Donae gave me as a gift. And we didn't plan it. She didn't say, oh, when he went to D.C., excuse me, not D.C., New York.
New York. Oh,
yeah,
New York.
Yeah, he wore this. I was like watching it. It's the same exact one. But Donae and I have always had this wonderful connection together, and we're so glad that you're here.
All right, so let me be the bad brother here. Donae, let me tell you something. Now, Gene turns around and he says, now, oh, I don't know if I've ever told you this. He's told me this story at least 75 times. Okay?
I have not.
I don't think a day goes by where he doesn't bring it up.
I have not given a lot of those away, but I knew I had to give it to Gene. And, you know, Gene and I, from the moment we met, we were friends. We were kindred spirits. Is what
really?
I are. That's what I've always. So no matter what it goes on in our lives or what we're doing or whatever, I've always known that I can trust Gene and that we are on the same page. And so that's why I'll say kindred. But it is a bit deeper than that. I think it's a spiritual.
Well,
God,
we're brothers and sisters in Christ.
Yes.
And that transcends, you know, everything. So
it transcends disagreement.
That's right.
Hey,
that's right.
Donae, one more thing on the comment, then we'll go through some news, because I love what you said, because you said my inside voice, where all these people saying, okay, Obama was executed in Guantanamo Bay, but they replaced him with a clone. And thank you for finally saying, how moronic
and
are
the
you?
clone does exactly what Obama would do and has been doing, and so on. He's obviously following a script. He's following a script written exactly as Obama would have continued on.
Exactly. So then why bother?
Right.
Why would they bother executing him?
Because the people that believe this have been sold that this guy is going to get his comeuppance.
I'm still to this day, I don't know what's the psyop about. And at the very least is training people to lie, because these people that are doing this, they're obviously lies. We talked about one. Someone said the other day or whatever that Comey, oh, don't worry about it. He's already been executed, and that's a actor. And I'm like, the guy's 7 feet tall. You got to find a 7 feet actor to play this, and he might go to prison. And so the actor's going to go to prison?
Because like, the clone always gets the raw part of the deal. The clone doesn't know any better.
I don't know if executed
arrested.
Don't be a fool.
Executed would probably be the raw part of the deal.
I got to tell you right now, Done, we need a clone union. The clones are going to rise up. They want to be unionized, and I got boys down on Mulberry Street that are just there to do it.
I'm telling you, it's not fair. It's not right. It's not right. They don't have voting rights.
You know what it is?
They go to prison.
They don't
have to have it doesn't have to have a point or a goal. I think that the goal is confusion.
Yes.
Because people are distracted and confused.
Okay.
What's really going on?
All right. This is good. All right. Dave, you want to go over some news articles here?
Yeah. Let's drag Done into this.
Hey, Done, let's see what Done has to say. This is like a game show. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is from the Dispatch. This was the first story there. By the way, you can get the Dispatch free. Just go to georgemagazine.com. We already sent it to Done. So she's one of our subscribers now. But the lead story is extremist fanboys are glamorizing anti-Semitism, and some politicians keep playing along. Now, there is a bunch of anti-Semitism out there with it, but we didn't know it. It's also with the left too. Dave, you have any thoughts on all this?
My thought on it is like and all of these people that want to blame the Jews for everything, they think that they're all so cutting edge. We're cutting edge now. Oh, we're going to blame the Jews. This is the oldest excuse this is the oldest thing in the book, right? Blame if your life is going wrong, it's got to be the Jews. As a matter of fact, somewhere in my family line, there's rumors that there are Cohens. So I just want to let you know, if the weather has not been up to your liking right now, that's on me.
It is. Oh my goodness. I did not know that, Dave. I'm not sure if we. Okay.
I couldn't control the space rays when I wanted to. I was very busy.
Yes, right. It's such a, when I look at it as a whole, what's happening, I knew this was going to happen because of my dad and what he saw about a Fourth Reich rising up. And this is much further than what's going on in American politics. This is had a real effect on Europe, and they will have to deal with it themselves. But I would have to ask, to whose benefit has this anti-Semitic move on the right been to? Who's benefited from it?
Well,
those
certainly
with whom
not
we are at war.
The United States.
Those with whom we are at war benefit from that.
That's right.
Because the Iranian regime in their constitution says that there must be no drop of Jewish blood left on the earth. It's in their constitution. That's what those ayatollahs are doing down there. So,
right. We've been saying that too. The Iranian people, it's the regime.
The regime, not the people.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Look at the accusation. The Jews are colonizers and are or expansionists. They have like this much land, a teeny little bit. Yeah. And every other country around them is Muslim now, but used to not be.
Right.
Afghanistan was not a Muslim country. Turkey was a Christian country. Do you know how many churches were burned out?
The churches that Paul established in the Bible were in Turkey.
Yes. And that is now a Muslim country. So who is expansionist? So the behavior we saw on the left, where whatever they accused us of is what they themselves were guilty of, the same tactic is happening there. They took the left already through, you don't want to be Islamophobic. I mean, I grew up around, I was a teenager in the 90s, so that was really culturally drilled into us. Do not be Islamophobic. You can't say a thing about Islam because you're being Islamophobic.
Right.
And so that is now intensified. And again, to whose benefit is it?
Right.
It has not been to the benefit of the American people. Whether or not you like Israel or not is irrelevant. It has not been. This is where Trump's making his decisions from. Had they not acted in Iran, Iran would have accumulated enough, not only nuclear material to make nuclear weapons, but more long-range missiles that have reached beyond 2,000, which everybody thought that's all they had, to 4,000, which means you could put a nuclear warhead on one of those missiles and hit London.
Yeah.
It hit Europe.
Yeah.
And so at that stage, America would not have been able to stop them.
Right.
Would not have been able to help them. So this isn't some evil scheme of the Jews to pull America into a war. President Trump, and I trust President Trump, is not going to go in there and get us involved in a war when he does not want that.
Right.
Unless there was a legitimate threat. I also trust Marco Rubio.
Yeah, Rubio is really shining, isn't he?
But my dad has a bit of, I'm not sure about it. I don't want to bring the prophecies up because I'm not sure. But I do know that what I see him doing is right. And it's not to speak against J.D. Vance either. I like J.D. Vance, but I like them all. I trust Trump.
Yeah.
I trust him. I know how he feels about the nuclear weapons. If he's looking there and he sees that danger and he's like, those missiles can reach Europe, that means they can go to Cuba and launch one. And don't think they won't. Look what they've done. They've done nothing but launch missiles at their own allies.
I know.
I'm telling you guys.
Iran is part of OPEC, right? Yes. So is the UAE. So Saudi Arabia. So as soon as we went in after Iran, Iran starts attacking the UAE.
Fools.
Yes, it's stupid.
They have a very distorted eschatology. So, like we have our end time study in the Bible and stuff. They have it too. And that is what the Iranian regime governs by, an eschatology of an end times scenario in which the 12th Imam returns. He returns from a well in Qom. Qom is in Iran. That's why the regime needed Iran in the first place. They wanted to occupy the territory where the Imam would return to. And so you'll notice if you look at the things they wear on their head, if it's black, they're Arabs. If it's white, they're not Arabs. And so Arabs went into Iran and took over the country. And the way in which they were able to do it was the joining of hands of the liberal communists with the Islamists. And they lied to those liberals. And what happened was, as soon as the regime took control, all the feminists, all the women that were like, we want to do this, the liberal women that thought we're fooled, they were actually executed.
That's right.
There's a newspaper.
Very few people know this.
Yeah. The two women on the headline when the Iranian Revolution happened in 1979, one of those women that's on that newspaper was beheaded. The other one had to flee the country and now works and speaks against the regime. So the Iranian people have been imprisoned by this regime.
That's right.
For 47 years, for as long as it was the 79 revolution happened when I was born.
Right.
And so, a resolution over there, a removal of that, and I don't believe America should be the one to do it. The Iranian people are going to have to do it. It's a massive country.
Yeah, but now hold on. Let me stop you right there. That's true. The Iranian people do need to do that. And we saw that they did do it in 79. But the problem is, okay, so they let these lunatics in. It would be like if you let in a well-meaning religious leader into your home, right? And him and his buddies, they come into your home, they beat your husband to death, they murder and they rape everybody, take all your food, take all your money, and then they tell you this is God's will. And that's basically what happened to the Iranian people. But now the Iranian people are like the elephant that as a baby was tied to the stake, right? Couldn't get away. Now as a full-grown elephant, it still believes it can't escape the little stick in the ground. So that mindset, and believe me, our guys are in there fomenting this. So we're trying to get the Iranian people back up to
for everyone watching us, we did not rehearse this. The fact that like Doné and I have been close friends for a long time, but we haven't shared recently, and you sound like you've been watching. Sounds like we've been.
Yeah, like we've all been sitting in a room chatting about this over coffee.
No, we haven't actually had this conversation.
No.
I had a vision of a lion, and it drove me to obsess over lions for months. I was doing it on my show. Different tribes of lions, the Barbary lion, which is extinct in the wild in that region in the Middle East. I was obsessing. My husband painted a lion. I actually have it here. I can show you. And he did that for me. And then all of a sudden, Operation Rising Lion happens. And I remembered all these things my dad had prophesied about Iran. So I really studied the history and what the story was.
Right.
And then I've been following the diaspora. And, many have looked at, I think it's Jeremiah 49.
Okay.
In relation to what's going on, if you wanted to see, because prophetically, that region is very important, especially within end times and people who study eschatology. Persia does come against Israel with Gog and Magog.
Right.
Gog and Magog being Russia.
Right.
And so right now we see that Russia did join hands with Iran the way my dad prophesied. And we see that them also with China. And so the communists and the Islamists are the other group of globalists. So we had the World Economic Forum and the UN and the World Health Organization, that Western globalist agenda, where you have one in the East. And that is a very dangerous. It's worse than the Westerners one. And so there's a war that we can't see, that we feel between who will take the globe, because we have the technology and the world is changing to where that is now attainable to those who would seek to control the earth. And so my attention now is drawn away from the Western globalists, because I think they've kind of been taken care of. And I'm looking now toward the Eastern globalists and that block of the Iranian regime with Russia and China. That's a dangerous thing that cannot be ignored. And the woke Reich, the anti-Semitism we see happening on the Reich is coming from there. They are masters of propaganda. The Iranian, the Islamists. I'm not talking about the Iranian people. I'm talking about the Islamists.
Right.
And the communists.
And the Russians.
And in particular, Alexander Dugin is a dangerous, dangerous person. And he is behind the influence that is happening.
Right.
On the right, on those on the right. It's him and others that I don't know everybody, but from what I've observed and things that have happened, I now understand that there is a great danger there.
Didn't he write a book?
He did write a book.
What was the name of that book?
The Great Reset versus the Great
Awakening. Right.
The Awakening.
That's right. The Great Reset versus the Great Awakening. Okay, we're going to circle back to that at another time.
Okay.
But I just have to say, Jim, before you just let me get this in.
Sure.
Russia and Iran, that alliance, I'm confident of. To me, China is out for its own interests.
Yes.
So if China's interests are met, obviously they are right now, coupling with the United States and so forth, China's going to be, they're going to have their toe in the water with Russia and Iran, but not really, in there. So it's a different, but Russia, speaking about expansionists, good grief. The ancient Scythians, those were the expansionist people, So anyway,
really quick, I want to see if Danae could comment on this. We talked about this before in our show. This is Donald Trump, basically how to treat a widow. We love this video. Here we go.
Happy Easter. Do we have that? Everyone happy? Anybody that doesn't want, hello, darling. Wow, this is a good table. I like that table. You're doing well, right? Okay. I think you should sue him, but, I told her, you ought to sue somebody. They're so jealous of Erica. I said, you ought to sue their... I can say it. You're not allowed to say this. You have to be nicer. Sue their ass off.
I like the way he leans into the microphone.
I was in the room when that happened.
You were in the room.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The one and only time I've ever gone to the White House. I did go to the Roosevelt Building a year ago for a faith leaders meeting, but I had never been inside the White House, and I was invited, and I was there. I didn't know Erica. I didn't know she was going to be there. I didn't know what to expect. I'd never been to the White House, but I was so excited. My husband and I went, and I saw Trump say that to Erica, and I was in full agreement.
And you now you're friends with Erica, correct?
I met her in the bathroom at the White House. I was washing my hands, and I looked over, and she was washing her hands, and I said, Erica, and she and I introduced ourselves. She knew who my dad was, and I talked to her a little bit, and she's become my friend. And what has happened to her is it's demonic. What has happened to her? I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting because the networks, we call them the network, which is like this band of MAGA influences, the nihilists, black pillars, whatever you want to call them. But the same thing happened to us here at George Magazine when they couldn't, and this like with Turning Point USA, when the horror that happened with Charlie, afterward they tried to jump in and take it over, and Erica stepped up and blocked it. So then they figured, well, if we can't take it over, we're going to try and destroy it, because Turning Point USA is like correct me if I'm wrong, Gene, but they're like the ground game for the Republicans.
Yeah, it's I hate to use this analogy. It's the acorn of the right. Is basically going into enemy territory, which is the liberal colleges, taking those voters, registering them to vote, and then changing their ideologies. Oh, I get it. This is how it works. And they get people to vote. It's not just like us going around the country rah-rahing people.
Yes.
They're actually getting people to vote.
Yes.
Right.
So it's
And young people, which is so important.
right.
And that was, it made such a difference. It really did. And the loss of Charlie and the way it happened it's just the most awful. But you're absolutely right. That if it hadn't been Erica as the CEO, whoever would be the person being attacked right now. Because all the way back to 2018 when Charlie split off with Candace and them, a man named John Mappin, they wanted to make TP UK. And whatever happened with Charlie, and I don't know what it is, and I have not asked Erica, but whatever happened there, Charlie didn't want to work with them. And at the same time, they had the whole parlor thing going on, which is why you see Candace hanging out with Kanye. They were hoping to get some money from him. And so there was all that going on. And then you can look and see Charlie and Candace and Erica and all of them stopped following each other in 2024 before the election or anything. She did not go to his wedding. She was, so it's, and I don't think it's something like, I don't think, oh, Candace is jealous of Erica. I don't think it's that.
No.
I think that, just like you said, TPUSA is a powerful, powerful organization.
Yeah.
That's right.
They wanted it. And Erica blocked them.
Right. And it's the same thing like what happened here that I don't think you can't be very aware, unless Gene shared it with you. But the same thing happened here. All of these network people embedded themselves into, when the relaunch of George Magazine took place back in 2020, they were all like embedded. And then, I got involved, and then I'll never forget the conversation Gene and I had one night. And the next thing you know, I'm blocking them from doing their thing. And it was like, man, the fireworks went off.
Yeah. And one of the things, and we'll move on to one or two more points.
Yeah.
And we had this too, Donay, because we talked to Alexis Wilkins. We had, still to this day, I'm not back on X. It was like nonstop. Whatever we would say, it was like nonstop bot action. And people, this was before we're trying to explain what's happening, that these are not real people, these are bots.
Right.
But they sent them all on there, and so it's constant. And
Gene and I don't post on there. Now we have a social marketing team that they handle the George account and everything else, and we oversee it, but we can't.
Anyway, Dave, can we got one or two more points? Can
Yeah,
we just
let's go.
to the Massie thing? Can we just do the Massie thing?
Oh yeah, let's get into the Massie thing.
Okay, let's finish up with this one here. Of course, this is from the Dispatch. Trump's Kentucky earthquake, Massie falls, GOP future shakes. And we were celebrating last night because Donald Trump endorses somebody. We should get behind them. And to prove that they're not all America first, you wonder where the America so-called first are. When you lose, you say, listen, I lost. Let's get behind the Republican. Let's get behind the conservative. But no, they take the ball away and there's like, we hate this and everything. All right, that's just my 2 cents.
Well, that's because they were never actually on board, right? If these people were actually on board with the Trump agenda, and not just the Trump agenda, but the agenda for a better America, if they were really on board, then okay, if Massie loses, then he would just get up there. Look, I called my opponent. He ran a great race and everything else, but I concede, but we're all going to get behind him so he beats the Democrat in November, right? That is how it used to be. Now with these crazies, and it's really appearing that they're all a bunch of Nazis. I mean, like literal Nazis, not pseudo Nazis. These are the Nazis.
Well, that's been the red flag for me because that seems to be the common denominator.
Right?
Look at Candace. She hates Erica. Who else does she hate? The Jews.
The Jews.
So it's become like, and again, it's not to say, oh, you can't criticize the Israeli government. You don't have to like Bibi Netanyahu. I mean, obviously they have a deep state and they have a left and a right and they have all kinds of the same stuff as we do. It's weird. You don't say that about Italians. If there's a group of people and they're all different. Maybe there's a couple of Jewish people in there, and maybe let's not use Italians. Let's use Christians.
Yeah, because the Italians will stab you.
Let's not use Italians.
I'm just kidding. Kidding.
You wouldn't then all of a sudden blame everything on Italians or whoever was involved in that. Well, there was an Italian in there, so the Italians did it. It's weird. I hope I'm making sense. It's just weird to me. And so when I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I also have the advantage of knowing what my dad prophesied, that there would be a Fourth Reich arise, but that it would be overcome. So we'll be fine. And look, I'm going to see this thing not working because people aren't stupid. And again, like I said, this is propagated. It's a warfare on the minds of the American people, really, and on the West to think that way. So you see that common denominator. And look, Massie, who's voting against everything we need, who's going against. I think, why did we do all that fighting to get Trump in? So you can't just give him his 40.
There you go.
Just give him.
There you go. Okay, let me play this video. This video because you're going to see Massie like basic. Okay, 50 seconds. Here we go.
Who are some of the more interesting members of Congress? Who kind of stands out? And my answer is always goes back to Thomas Massie. He is someone, we are in such a political, in an era where everything is tribal. Politics is so tribal. You rarely have anybody standing out from their party leadership. Thomas Massie is one of them, and that separates him from some of these others, like Cassidy, who we saw in Louisiana fall last week. John Cornyn, who may indeed fall next week in his primary, now not endorsed by Trump. Massie has made it his identity, his brand, to stand apart from his party and from the president.
No,
I mean that's the whole thing.
He got elected by claiming that he was with Trump and he was MAGA and I'm America first and all of that business. And then when he got in, he became an obstructionist. That's it.
I tell you really quick with this. Way back when, and I remember this because when I first kind of dabbled in politics, this is before everything. Ron Paul, like he was like the guy, like, oh, I'm outside the box, going against the Bush and everything. So I was like, that was like the sexy place to be. But now we already have our outsider. And he's transformed the Republican Party, and his name is Donald Trump. Yeah. So we don't need another person that like, oh, now Donald Trump is bad. Whatever. This is what they're saying. So to me, this was a great day yesterday. Dave and I were celebrating that Trump's pick Allrain won. Anyway.
Yeah, and I thought it was great when Massie got up there and he gave his concession speech and he said, "Listen, I just want to congratulate Allrain. He's a wonderful guy, and we're going to get behind him in November to beat the Democrats," because that's what he said, right?
No, he goes. What did he say? We can't find him in Tel Aviv or something like that. Like basically, like, oh, I'm sick of this Israel.
He lost because of the Jews.
Yes.
The Jews got him.
You know what? That's so weak and unintelligent. And you know what? If I was anybody standing there, I'd be like, thank God this guy's not in again. Look, I found it. I've never really followed too much of Massie, only recently because it's been in the news and he was running for and what he's been saying and doing. But I found it weird when his wife passed. It was just that whole situation was weird. And ever since then, I've never been that interested because I was like, something strange is going on there. And I think that there's a little bit of that's happening. I don't know if people are taking money or people getting threatened. And I don't think that's happening to Massie. But you do kind of see, like even with Kent earlier this year, he also had a wife who passed. And then there was a new woman. And then he completely changes. And then all that happened. And now he's blaming the Jews for everything. And so it's interesting to me also because I know what my dad saw. So
Yeah.
I have a little advantage there. I'm not smarter than anyone else. This is because people need to understand.
You're very perceptive.
No,
What I'm trying to say is
yeah.
the American people are perceptive. What is happening to us is actually warfare being conducted by our enemies.
That's right.
The Islamists and the communists are masters. So they're buying off our politicians or manipulating people. Like Tucker, I think I don't know what's going on. It's not about money with Tucker because he's very wealthy.
Right.
There's something else is going on there with Tucker. But to me, I will always look at things through a spiritual lens because of who my dad was and where I come from. And so I recognize a demonic element to it as well. But I know that it's not just spiritual. I know this is a propaganda warfare.
Yeah.
And it's the goal is to weaken us, divide us, and confuse us, so that if our leader, who's such a threat to them and their plans, does not have our support, then he won't be successful. If we're all accusing one another, then we're not going to see what's going on or even know what's going on.
Correct.
Because that's the goal, and that's what I have to come back to that every time because I can see it's far beyond this person or that person. This is an organized thing. And people, even people unbeknownst, people have been deceived and lied to. So maybe somebody's repeating something. Someone lied to them and someone lied to them. And so I think it goes back all the way to the top. And I look straight at Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. We've been singing, we've been shouting that from the rooftops for months.
Just so you know, just so you know, we've been. I'm trying to find this here. Let me see if this one here. Russia. This is from September 23rd, 2004. Russian foreign tactics. We did that. We did this one in May of 2025. Bots and bullies basically are the bots. We've been talking about this for a very long time. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, because this and the Russians were the ones that came out with the trust propaganda. Was Operation Trust, and that's how they rooted out all of the rebellious members of society after they took over. It was they are masters of propaganda, the Russians.
And so are the Islamists.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
Ever since October 7th, you've seen the way and the infiltration has happened in the schools and the universities. That's why you need a TPUSA kind of thing to go into the schools. And
I didn't think about that.
I
did not even think about that.
Right.
All right.
Wow.
Donate. Before we go, where can people find more of you? What's your website here that people could go see your show? We hope to have you here again.
Okay. So you can go to houseofdestiny.org or kimclement.com. That's the websites. Now, and that's all one website, but the Kim Clement has its own section because its prophecy database is there. But we're also on YouTube, on X, on Rumble, on Facebook, on Instagram. And all you have to do is search Prophet Kim or Kim Clement, and that's, or a House of Destiny. If you search any of those on any of those platforms, you'll be able to find us. I do a live show on Sundays. And also, I just wanted to tell you guys, I told you about that lion.
Yeah.
This is a very exclusive thing. This is only happening for my audience, but I love you guys, so I wanted to share it with you today. The only way you can get this is to email my husband. There's no website. There's no store. And the minute
you can't see it,
I'm going to show you.
Oh, okay.
So my husband did these paintings.
Oh, wow.
That's his most recent one, the lion and the lamb. But I was talking to you about the lion. And he painted this for me.
There you go.
Oh,
because
beautiful.
I saw the lion, and then Operation Rising Lion, and then Operation Roaring Lion. And then we had my dad prophesying about what God would do in the United States of America and Israel at the same time. And he actually said, my fury has ended, says the Lord. And what was it called? Operation Epic Fury. So there's so much woven together in this that for us, and at the House of Destiny, and me with my dad and us and our family, it's been a different journey for us because of my dad. And it's so unique and different and often alien to many people. You know, I try to handle it as it comes, because I do understand it's kind of weird for some people. You don't know anything about it. You're like, oh, you know, even Gene, when Gene first saw my dad, he was like, oh no, he's got to be a fraud. There's no way. And then when you look into it, you can see that he was not. And the reason that I even do what I do is because I loved my dad so much, and I went on an incredible journey. I was a child. I didn't even realize what was happening, but I saw what God can do. And America belongs to God. And everybody's going to try to say that America's evil, or America's finished now, and America's time is up. And that's not what my dad saw. The American people are a unique and beautiful thing. And it's the last hope in the rest of the world. If America falls, there is no more hope. And so God is not finished with America yet. And I just want to encourage any American, forget about if you're a Christian or not, if you believe in prophecy or not, if you're an American, God loves this country. And It is not an evil place. It is a place full of hope. And just be encouraged, and feel courage in your hearts. When they're trying to make you feel afraid, defy that fear.
Right.
Defy it and have faith that God will intervene, because I truly believe that he will. And he's using Donald Trump. And that's
why people drag themselves from all over the world to try and get in to the United States. Right? They're not dragging themselves all over the world to get into Libya.
No,
or any
Libya,
other country.
where there is slavery today. They are selling human beings as slaves in Libya right now.
I know.
And yet everybody wants to talk about how evil America is. But America ended slavery.
Right.
You know, the British and the Americans, they ended it. It had been going on for all time. That's one of those things those things they omit from history. It's not to excuse any slavery or anything that happened here, but it's to say it isn't just the West, and that's a lie. And these lies have been picking away at the soul of America. And America needs to be rejuvenated. And that's why Trump, and that's why the return to prayer, to humble ourselves and get on our knees before God and say, forgive us. We still want to be the lamp on the hill. We still want
to cover.
That's our cover, you know.
That's a cover this month. All right, donate.
Truly,
we're gonna get out of here. I gotta. Yeah, it really is.
Oh, but if anybody wants one of those paintings, I didn't tell you. You have to email my husband. I'll text you the email address if anybody asks, Eugene.
Yeah,
because I've been praying over these and sending them out. So pictures.
We'll probably put it on. We probably put it on a website or something. We'll do that. Donate. Stick around after this, because I just want to say off camera. I just want to say ask you some stuff. Everyone else, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show.
Yeah, and we'll cover the Clarity Act tomorrow.
Yes, we're like so busy today. Okay, thank you so much.
Dean, wait. Just let me say this. XRP under the Clarity Act, for all of those listening, is going to go from a retail asset to hold on a second, because I got the official thing here. It's moving from a retail asset to an enterprise-grade settlement instrument, where settlements across nations will not need the middleman pre-funded bank. So it'll be instant with XRP tomorrow.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Donate, just stick around for a minute after we
Yes,
close this
Donate.
show.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That was great.
Thanks for checking us out. Don't forget to go to georgemagazine.com and sign up for the Dispatch. It's free. Get the emails and the news stories. And check us out Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can check us out on Facebook and YouTube. We'll see you then.